All right, thanks, guys. The Seahawks take on the Cardinals, 4:05 Arizona. The Seahawks are -3, totals 37.5 up to 39. Seattle's $1.70 straight up for some money line cash. There was a 10-cent fade of the Seahawks in the early wagering. Not sure where this number's going to end up at. I'd originally presume Seattle would take most of the early money, but that 10-cent fade of the money line makes me think we might close out at about -3.5 by game time. Regardless, though, if you're backing either team in this spot here, you're in a pretty good position at this point. You can buy the half a point if it ends up moving in either direction, whenever it does move, if at all. But regardless, both teams struggling thus far on the season. Russ has no O-line. Arizona's pulling the trigger on the rookie. The Cards are 0-3 straight up on the year. Just 1-2 ATS in those three matchups. They did cover against Chicago in Week 3, where they were catching 5.5 in most shops. Now, Arizona just can't put points on the board. 20 points scored in totality for the first 3 weeks of action. The defense can't stay off the field either. They're averaging nearly 37 minutes on the field per contest. And if you take a look at the actual betting trends, they certainly don't favor the Cardinals either. 0-5 ATS in their last 5 at home against Seattle. 0-5 straight up in that very same category. They're taking on a Seattle squad who comes into Week 4 and just 1-2 on the season, but 2-1 against the spread, depending on where you're shopping at. Now, if you had them at +3.5 against Denver, which some of you did, you got the job done in that one. And then this past weekend, they handled Dallas as the 1-point favorite by the final score of 24-13. Now, their lone failure to cover did come at the hands of the Chicago Bears, which wasn't really competitive. That said, though, the betting trends, like I said, definitely favored the Seahawks. 5-0 ATS in their last 5 in Arizona. The Seahawks are also hopeful that KJ Wright can come back. Justin Britt is probable for Sunday on the O-line. George Fant has been upgraded to probable on the O-line as well. And Delano Hill is probable this Sunday at safety with that hammy injury. Now, if you like scoring, you probably won't see a lot of it in this matchup here. Like I said, Arizona's cutting Josh Rosen loose. He's going to get the start at QB for the Cards in his rookie season. And if you think about it, it really can't hurt. Arizona's averaging 6 points of scoring per game. Just 23 minutes of time of possession for each contest and just above 4 yards per play on average. Meanwhile, on the Seattle side, they're averaging 21 points a game. Not great, not too bad. They have been kept under 25 points per game in all 3 of their matchups thus far in the season. And historically, these two teams tend to keep it low when they clash. The total's gone under in 4 out of Arizona's last 6 when playing at home against Seattle. So with all that said and done, I think we'll see a low-powered gridlock here. But overall, I like the Hawks and the under. So give me Seattle -3 in the under. 39 total points in this one. And with that said, welcome to the show. I got some lines and personal leans out for our NFL Week 4 slate of Sunday evening and Monday games. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you to check out my daily best play at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented win percentage of 60% for the entire year of 2017, you're costing yourself valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed. Now, tier memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. There's also plenty of free content there as well, so you don't have to pay. And once again, please feel free to hit that pause button right now, open up your browser, and just quickly check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. It'll only take you a few seconds. Link is in the description section below. And if you are a current patron of mine and you're watching right now, I just can't thank you enough. You make it all worth it. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our NFL Week 4 slate of late games. On deck, we've got Browns, Raiders, and all starts are Eastern Standard Time, by the way. Browns, Raiders, 4:05 Oakland. The Raiders are the 2.5-point favorites in this one. Total was 44.5 up to 45 flat. The Raiders are the $1.45 favorites on the money line. And if you like the Raiders to get the job done in this matchup here at home, I'd probably wait it out to see where this line moves. I got to imagine with the hype of Baker Mayfield and Cleveland getting their first win, a lot of recreational guys will be riding high on the Browns. I would not be surprised to see this one close out at Oakland -1.5 by game time. Now, if you're a Browns backer, don't look to catch a whole lot more in this spot here. You may just want to purchase that half a point right now and buy it up to +3 and just be done with it. But regardless, this Cleveland team was the talk of the town last week with their big win over the Jets on Thursday Night Football. That was a primetime game. Everybody was watching it. And that big win put them at 1-1-1 on the year and a perfect 3-0 against the spread as well. But before you go ahead and start refinancing the mortgage on Cleveland, just keep in mind that they have still found ways to lose, or in their case, tie, on 2 separate occasions this season. And Baker's presence still doesn't change the fact that Cleveland's just won 18-1 straight up in their last 20 ball games. My biggest concern for Cleveland backers in this game is the location. Cleveland's gone 0-5 straight up in their last 5 games away from home dating back to last season. Meanwhile, on the Oakland side, they're averaging 302 yards passing per game and nearly 100 yards rushing on the ground. And despite their 0-3 record, you got to take into consideration the level of competition they're facing. Oakland's lost to the undefeated Rams, undefeated Dolphins, and the 2-1 Denver Broncos. So, not for nothing, this Oakland schedule through 3 weeks have been absolutely brutal. Now, scoring-wise, the Browns' defense has played pretty tough here in the second halves. They close out well, and both squads are 2-1 to the under thus far on this season. Oakland's averaging 17 points per game, where Cleveland's averaging about 20. The total's also gone under in 9 out of Oakland's last 10 ball games. Meanwhile, on the Cleveland side, they're 4-2 to the under in their last 6, and 4-1 to the under in their last 5 head-to-head matchups with Oakland. So with all that said and done, I got to think Coach Gruden can get the job done here. I know he's not a real popular guy right now amongst the league, but Carr's just too talented to start 0-4 at QB. I just can't envision it. So I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it down, take the Oakland Raiders -2 and the under 45 points in this one. Next game, Saints-Giants, 425 New York. The Saints are -3.5. Total was 49 up to 50. The Saints are the $1.80 favorites on the money line. 15-cent fade of New Orleans in the early going here. No real speculation as to where this number is going to move. I think folks are riding high on either team based on their Week 3 victories. Last week's win did put New York at 1-2 on the year with a 1-2 record against the spread as well. Now, some experts have New York getting the job done here, but I really do feel like they exploited a hapless, really bad Houston Texans team last week. The Giants have also struggled against the spread as of late, going 1-2 as the underdog and 0-2 in their games at the current posted total. Those records are against the spread, obviously. And historically, the G-Men are just 3-6 ATS in their last 9 at MetLife, along with going 1-5 ATS in their last 6 playing New Orleans. And speaking of New Orleans, they come into Sunday's matchup at 2-1 on the season. Big wins against the Browns and the Falcons. The Saints have also historically traveled well in recent years, 15-5 ATS in their last 20 road games. They also play the Giants very well, going 4-2 straight up in their last 6 facing New York. And you want to talk about an offensive juggernaut. The Saints are averaging 35 points per game and 345 in the air. Now, total-wise, the Saints are 2-1 to the over on the season and 5-1 to the over in their last 6 dating back to last season. The Saints have also gone 4-2 to the over in their last 6 away from home. Meanwhile, on the Giants side, the total's gone over in 4 out of their last 5 when playing New Orleans. So with all that said and done, I got to lean toward the Saints and the over. Give me the New Orleans Saints -3 after buying the hook and the over. 50 points in this one. Next game, Niners-Chargers, 425 Los Angeles. The Chargers are the 10-point favorites. Total was 47 up to 47.5. The Chargers are the $4.80 favorites on the money line, a 25-cent move in their favor. The Chargers are 1-2 on the season, 1-2 ATS as well. They've had 2 brutal opponents to open up the season, though. They hung in there with the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1, losing by 10. They were also beat by the undefeated Los Angeles Rams last week, 35-23. So they literally squared off with arguably the 2 best teams in football in 2 out of their opening 3 weeks of action this season. And despite taking on those great teams, they're still averaging 27 points per game, nearly 300 yards through the air on offense as well. They've also been running the ball well too, averaging 124 yards on the ground per game. LA's also averaging 7 yards per play on the season. Now, when it comes to the betting trends, the Chargers have been pretty solid there as well. 10-5 ATS last 15, 7-3 straight up last 10, 4-2 ATS last 6 at home. And historically, the Chargers always play San Fran well. They're 5-1 ATS in their last 6, taking on the Niners. Now, on the San Fran side, obviously, you know their franchise QB's out for the year. They're going to start with C.J. Beathard in this spot here. The total does seem a bit high here for me for a backup's first start on the season. And if you want some betting trends to back it up, the total's gone under in 4 out of San Fran's last 6 games away from home. Now, Beathard does have some experience with the Niners, but it's a tough spot for you. Now, on the Charger side of things, they're 4-2 to the under in their last 6 at the StubHub Center themselves. So I'm not expecting a whole lot of offensive production out of the Niners, and I do expect the Chargers to grind them down once they get a lead. So I will make a very unorthodox lean. Give me the LA Chargers -10 and the under. 47.5 in this one. All right, Sunday night, Baltimore at Pittsburgh's 8:20 kickoff in the Steel City. The Steelers are -3, totals 51. Gritty win by Pittsburgh last night against Tampa. Lots of points, lots of scoring. Really fun game to watch. Hit that one on the over, by the way. And last night's win puts Pittsburgh at 1-1-1 on the season. And if you think about it, their schedule has been pretty tough through 3 weeks as well. You had a gritty Browns team who is on the upswing in week 1. You had the Kansas City Chiefs who's scoring 80 points a game, and you had the Tampa Bay Bucks last night who's throwing for about 1,000 yards per game themselves. Obviously, those numbers are facetious. But anyway, I think we're starting to see the Steelers hit their stride a little bit here. They're now averaging 29 points per game and 363 yards of passing through the air per game. That's just astounding. Now, on the other side, there's no doubt that Baltimore's look good in certain spots. 2-1 straight up on the year, putting up a bunch of points themselves. They are really banged up on defense, though. Mosley's got a knee, Pierce got a foot, Henry's got a gut, Averett's got a hamstring, and that's all on the defensive side of the ball. Now, total-wise, I think we could see this one get over the total. Baltimore's averaging 32 points a game, 292 yards through the air, 2-1 to the over on the year as well. And historically, the total's also gone over in 10 out of Baltimore's last 15 ball games. Meanwhile, on the Pittsburgh side, they're 3-0 to the over thus far on the season and 5-0 to the over in their last 5, dating back to last season. The Pittsburgh fans have also seen a bunch of scoring at Heinz Field as of late in the past couple years. 7-1 to the over in the Steelers' last 8 home games. So with all that said and done, I really like the Steelers to score a bunch of points in this spot here on primetime. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers -3 and the over 51 points in this one. All right, next and final game for the show. It is going to be the Monday night game. Chiefs at Broncos, 8:15 Denver. The Chiefs open 3.5, now 4. Total open 55, up to 56 flat. The Chiefs are the $2.15 favorites on the money line, 30-cent move toward KC. If you like KC to get the job done in this one, I'd probably lock it in now. They took most of the early money and continue to take most of the current money at most shops. This one could close out at 5.5 by kickoff if these betting trends continue. And if you like the Broncos in this spot here, chances are you're going to catch about 5 points at home this week at some point. So patience is going to be your best friend. I would do some line shopping. I wouldn't be too concerned about losing equity. But regardless, this Broncos team is a winless 0-3 against the spread thus far on the season, despite their 2-1 straight-up record. They failed to cover in Week 1 if you had them at 2.5. They beat Oakland by a measly point in Week 2 when they were favored by 6. And they got smoked by Baltimore last week by 13 points when they were catching 6. So although Denver's been very good to their fans thus far, they haven't been so generous toward their wagering backers. Now on the KC side of things, no surprises here. 39 points per game on average, 295 through the air, 103 on the ground. KC scored 38, 42, and 38 points respectively in each of their games through week 3 already. Mahomes is breaking records. Hunt's getting the job done. Hill can break one anywhere. Watkins is getting the ball. And oh yeah, Kelsey's one of the best tight ends in the conference. This team is absolutely unreal. And if you want to go a little deeper past the eye test and dig into the betting trends, they're going to support a Kansas City play as well. 7-1 ATS last 8, 12-4 ATS last 16 on the road. KC's also a perfect 5-0 ATS in their last 5 against the Broncos. And if location is a concern of yours, the Chiefs are 4-1 ATS in their last 5 playing in the Mile High City. Now, total-wise, KC's obviously 3-0 to the over for the year. And when these teams get together, the total's gone over in 5 out of their last 6 meetings. So with all that said and done, I really have no reason to fade the Chiefs in this spot here. Give me Kansas City -4 and the over 56 points in this one. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I just have to remind you to check me out at patreon.com. And with a documented win percentage of 60% for the entire year of 2017, you're costing yourself valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed. Now, memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. There's also plenty of free content there as well. So once again, please feel free to hit that pause button right now. Open up your browser and just quickly check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. It'll only take you a few seconds. Link is in the description section below. And if you are a current patron of mine and you're watching me right now, I just can't thank you enough. You make it all worth it. And as always, thank you for watching today's program. I hope you enjoyed all this great free information. And please don't forget to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage.